Can you all hear me? Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Because sorry about my voice. I've been talking now last couple of months, continuously talking in Europe. So yesterday I came here, to Christchurch from Italy. And so it was a long journey. And still my voice is not good, 100% recovered. Anyway, so good afternoon everybody. Thank you very much for coming here, and thank you very much for organizing, and for people who are in Cherish as well. You are part of Cherish. So during this session I want you to do I want you to think in a different way. We want to experience our life in a different angle. Because we came here as a human beings, and we live because we were born. Since you were born, you have been doing so many things throughout your lives, that you have been doing so many things to achieve. And one day, what will happen? We'll die because we lived, right? Mm-hmm. But during this talk, I want you to, think outside this life. Think outside the way that we think about our lives. Because that what we have been doing so far as human beings, that means what we have learned, what we have studied, what we have learned from our teachers, our parents, and what everybody is doing, so we do those things. We look around the world when we were born, right? We learn from our mothers and fathers. We listen to our friends. We listen to our teachers. They taught us something that, okay, this is the way to live as a human being. So here you are. So we have been doing the same thing that everybody else in the society is doing. We don't have a way to think outside the frame that we have been indoctrinated by the society. I didn't mean that you don't have to pay taxes and you should you should go against the government. No, this is not something like that. When you understand the reality, ladies and gentlemen, you become a very free person. Truth be told, that now I have been living this life for 2 years as an ordained monk, as a Buddhist monk, and 2 years and now 1 month. Oh no, almost 2 years for the first April. Yes. There's 2 years, and I can guarantee that what I've been experiencing, the life that I have been experiencing throughout these 2 years is amazing compared to the life that I was spending like you guys. I'm not asking you to come and get ordained. But there's a reason that I chose this path, because earlier I didn't have an idea what is the Buddhism. Earlier I thought Buddhism is something like a religion, and people worship, people follow. It's like, I mean, I was born Buddhist, like born in a Buddhist background, and I always wanted to become a scientist. So that's why I chose that path, and I went through that path until when I reached 29 years old. Then one sermon that I listened from my teacher, the present teacher, then that triggered me, that inspired me. Okay, we have to think about our life. We have to think what we have been doing so far. Is it the same? Is it the thing that we have to do as a human being? Is there something else that we can do? Not to build rockets and go to the moon, right? Something can we do something else? Because you can see there are a lot of people in the world. 8 billion, 8.5 billion, 8.5 billion? Yes, 8.5 billion people live in this world. And everybody is doing something throughout their lives. From dawn to dusk, what they have been doing is trying to satisfy themselves and find and looking after the satisfaction, trying to get something out of their lives, because you feel that you are doing something worth, aren't you? You feel every day that you are doing something worth, something meaningful. If I ask from you, okay, what you have done yesterday, you would say that I have done this and this and this and this. It seems that you have done something worth, something fulfilling. You have done something. Of course, yes, you have done something. Is it something worth or not? That depends. You have had anything. You have, you discuss, you have friends. You have family members. You have people who cares about you. You are not alone. Human beings are not alone, right? We live in the tribes. So you have friends and family members, and who cares about you, who can call you, who would call you in day-to-day life, and you feel that they are there with you. But truly, are they there with you, or just for that time it seems that they are with you? I'm asking from you. Even though we feel that we have all the people that we associate in our life, that we have them, we are living with them. Ladies and gentlemen, at your dying breath, nobody is there with you. When you were born, nobody came with you. Did somebody come with you? No? You came alone? Did you? Was your wife was there back then with you? No. Okay. How about your children, kids? No, nobody was there. You came alone to this world. You have come alone. And now you are living, and you feel that you have the wealth, you have the money, you have achieved something, you have gained something. You know that we go into school, right? We studied so many things. Remember how many exams that you have done? Too many exams. Those days I still remember, my mom always keep telling me, what? Education, 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 how are you? Because I was grown in that kind of culture. People have given so much of value to what? Education. Because if you want to be happy, then you need to find what? Good education. If you have good education, then you will earn millions of dollars. As a result of that, you can live happy life. But people have millions of dollars. If you go and ask from them that whether they are living a happy life, they would say, no, still we are trying to be happy. I still remember back then when I was first doing my job as a demonstrator at the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka, Kandy. We only got paid for 25,000 rupees. That is, I think, $250. That's very small amount. I'm just not so far, like 2013, 14, 15 something. But we lived with that money for 1 month. I lived. I had something. I ate. I wrote something. I'm not saying that I was satisfied, but I did something. I lived. And then after that, but when I live in the society, some people come to me and say, okay, if you do this, then you will earn more money. Then you can go to the next level of the life. So they are actually, everybody is showing you how to enhance, or how to establish a good living condition by earning money. This is the society that we live. Everybody wants to find more money to live happy. To satisfy yourself, you need more money. That's what we feel. That's what everybody is doing. Go and ask from anybody in the street what they would say. If I have some amount of money, I would be able to do this. Everybody has targets. You all have this. We always have what? We always target oriented. Okay, this is the life that I spent as well. But the problem here is, yes, of course, that we have been achieving different targets and we have been going forward. At the end of the day, what have you gained? Did you gain anything? Or just living again? Living. For 25,000 rupees also, I was living. For 5,000 New Zealand dollars per month, yes, I'm living. Okay, let's say we have 50,000. Still you are living. But the thing is that the thing that you have to do as a human being? This is you have to think. Because when we come here, we didn't have an idea what we have to do. Did you have an idea? Let's go back to your kindergarten. Who told you to go to school? Did you come up with, when you were born, did you come to this world, okay, I want to go to school? But saying like that?
Society.
Definitely not, right? I still remember the first day that I went to school. I was crying.
Yeah, me too.
Can you give hot water, like 100% hot? I was crying. I hate to go to school. I want to stay with my mom and dad. Do you have this experience?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I like school.
First day, that was a very strange experience for me. Because I was stayed with my parents, right? They said, okay, you have to go to school. You know how they told me, you're going to go to school, school, you have so many people around you and you will have a lot of friends, and they are putting, cherries. Cherries on the top of that thought, okay, going to school.
Enticing.
And fabricating. and give some idea. Okay, of course you have to learn. I'm not against learning. I also did the PhD. The thing is, just asking, how many things that you have learned so far you are using for your bread and butter, for your living? How many exams that you need to pass? To live this life, that what you are doing right now. Think. Do you have to learn all these things that we have learned? No. I was actually thinking about it, and I felt like the things that I learned for up to grade 5 is enough to live this life. Not my life, whatever that the general people live. I'm not telling. I'm talking about the exams, that because that we always had an idea that we have to pass these exams and go forward. You always had this idea. What? You do the exam, and when you do the exams, when you have done the exams, that okay, you have accomplished that. Okay, then the next thing. So you always had what? Next thing. The society gives you. It's always good. That's what people say. But the thing is, okay, how many exams at this moment that you have achieved, helping you to live this life? Nothing.
You can't exam consciousness.
What you have done is just suffering on those moments. Remember, doing an exam, do you think that it's happy? Do you like to do exams? No, I hate. I don't like to do exams. That's why in our school, like in the monastery school, our children, they don't have to do exams. What they are doing, they are doing exams, but we are not asking them to pass the exams. Our target is to give the education, the learning, the skills. Because that's what you need. You need something to live. That's the true purpose of education. But the thing is, what we have been doing is, we have been trying to satisfy ourselves by doing the education, by passing out the exams. That means, ladies and gentlemen, since you were born, you have been striving to find the satisfaction. Do you understand? Satisfaction. Fulfill your life. You have been doing so many things to fulfill, to fill your life, to find the ultimate happiness, to feel special, to feel satisfied, to feel fulfilled. This is what we have been doing since we were born. I still remember my mom, those days they are saying, okay, we are suffering because we didn't have education. So we are providing you the education because of now you can live a wonderful life. That was my childhood. People are putting you all these different what? Targets. Now you are achieving them. You are trying to achieve it. But the thing is, you can't, even though you achieve it, right? You achieve it, but you didn't gain anything. But you feel you have gained. That's the problem here. You feel that you have gained something. You feel that you have gained something. The sense of that, the experience that you feel that you have gained something, that is something like an illusion. Because of that illusion, you think, okay, I gained this, so I will do another thing. What? in future, okay, I gain this, okay, so we have another target, let's do that. That's why people are doing so many things out there. The other day I was thinking, so we were in the London Heathrow. I was near the London. I stayed near the London Heathrow airport. Right, so many planes. The planes are there. You have to land the plane because it was in the sky. They are in the sky. So because of the fuel, lack of fuel, they had to land the. We have to land the plane, right? Then it takes so many space. So you have to take off, right? The plane that land, always take off. When you take off, then you have to find a place to land. When it landed, then you have to find a place to. Then you can't stay there. That's why the companies, they always the airline companies, they don't want to keep the plane on the ground. Right? Because that doesn't give money, right? You need to earn something. So that's why, ladies and gentlemen, what everybody is doing is, everybody in this society, in this world is doing is something, emotion, always doing something, thinking that you have achieved something. Nobody achieved anything, but everybody feels something achieved. Let's think about, think about your life and what you have achieved so far, right? Do you have them right now? At this moment? This moment, did you hear this sound? It's not nice, isn't it? The ting sound. This moment that you hear this sound, do you have a car? The moment that you perceive a sound, that moment, that perception moment, does that perception has a car? No. Does that perception has a wife, husband, children, bank account? I'm talking about the perception, right? You heard it, right? You felt it. The moment that you felt that sound, do you have anything that you have gained so far? Nothing? No, just the perception.
I perceive it to be.
You perceive the sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. How many songs that you have listened so far? Okay. When you listen to the song, you feel that you are doing something worth. I still remember my mom always telling, son, do something worth. When I was playing computer games, my mom always complaining, right? What? Do something worth. But according to me, I am doing something worth. Playing a computer game for me, in that on that occasion, right? Doing something worth. But actually, if it is something worth, right? Okay, think about this. If it is something worth that you have done, do you have to do it again and again and again? If something that is worth means that can be done. You can do this and you can say, okay, I'm done. It's there. It's like this. Somebody wanted to create a pen. Okay, pen is created. Okay, pen is there. So do you have to create again? No, the pen is there. Likewise, the things that you have done, right? The music or whatever the things that you have listened, that you had, what you have been doing. Are you done, or you still have to do things? When you are listening to the music, the song, you feel nice. And after that, gone. Then next day, again you are listening to it. That means, ladies and gentlemen, we have a mindset. We have a sense that there's something void. You know what I mean? Something void. Something is empty. Something is not right. We have a sense that something is not okay here. We need to do something.
Busy.
That keeps you busy. That keeps you doing so many things because you feel what? Something void, something empty, something is not right. We have to do something. We have to engage doing something here. Because mind is not aware about the mind. That is the problem. There are two aspects, ladies and gentlemen, mindfulness and mindful awareness. You know, mindfully aware, you are aware about the mind. That means you are aware about your life, why you were born, why you are living this life, what happens right now. When you are aware about yourself, when you are aware about what's going on right now, that awareness actually helps you to do something that is worth doing. Otherwise, since you were born, from dawn to dusk, morning to night, what you have been doing is trying to satisfy yourself. Let's think about the things that you are doing to satisfy yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, even in the morning, when you brush your teeth, you are doing it for why? Why you are doing it? I want you to think, when you brush your teeth, you feel what? You have done something worthwhile, something worth. You feel, done. If it is done, then you don't have to brush it again. Can you do like that? Don't do that, okay? The next day morning, when you go to work, people will complain you. So you have to do it. I'm just asking, we feel that we have done that, we have done that. From morning to night, so many events happens. It depends on what you are doing for your bread and butter, right? You have been doing so many things, one after the other, after you feel that, okay, you did that, done. You did this, done. You did this, done. Likewise, now what you are doing? Pardon?
Creating a habit as well.
Creating habit as well, yes. Because of that, now you can't stop doing it.
You're trapped in the past.
Huh?
You're trapped in the past.
Yes, you're trapped in the past. You always want, let's say, when you wake up, you get the thought, what? Okay, now you wake up, then take the phone and check the internet, whatever the WhatsApp messages and all these things. When you check the WhatsApp messages, you feel what? Done. I still remember those days, my supervisor, when I was doing my PhD, my supervisor, Monday morning, he was complaining so many emails. Right? From 9 to 12 midday, what he was doing is replying to those emails. So after replying to those emails, he feels what? Relief. Something? You have done something worth. Congratulations. You have done something worth. Okay, then what's next? This is why I feel that, nobody question this. What you are doing as a life, is that the life we have to spend? Nobody question about it. Yes.
Is that, therefore, we all get hooked up in doing and not being. So we're doing all the time because we feel self-satisfied after feeling that worthiness of having done something, then we're craving to go back into that again because it's giving us that reward of doing something.
Yes, that gives us, that gives you like a sense of reward.
That's right, yeah.
The sense of reward that triggers the dopamine in your brain. You feel,
and we're dopamine beings. We need dopamine to survive. But where do we get it from?
that's why you think, okay, you don't need dopamine to survive. You know what? Since you have been feeling this void, right? That's why you need dopamine. If you don't feel a void, if you don't sense a void, if you don't sense a void in your life, then you don't have to do anything, ladies and gentlemen, because everything is happening.
It's happening as it should be.
For example, give me 1 second. Right at this moment, in this life right now, right? Are you hearing? Oh, hearing happens. Did you hear the clap?
Yes.
Did you hear the clap? Okay. Before the sense of hearing starts, this incident has to happen.
Cause and effect.
This incident has to happens, and that leads to the cascade of reaction. The vibration has to transfer through the air and through the ear and to the brain, and that gives a sense of sound. Agree?
Yes.
Agree? Now tell me, this sense of sound, the clapping sound, the sense, can that sense of sound has an expectation to hear sense of sound? Sorry, sound. Like clap.
As in?
No. You know why? You didn't get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
After the clapping incident, the sense of clap happens. The sensing happens after this incident.
Okay.
Right?
But then that will create an expectation for next time.
No. Can that experience have an expectation to hear a clap?
Yes.
No, because it's already created now.
So if, for
Sorry.
example, I was looking at a window and I seen a firework, but I couldn't hear the firework, but I have a sense or an expectation already of perceiving what that firework sounds like, but I can't hear it because it's double glazing, for example.
Yes.
But I still have that sensory perception of what that sounds like, even though I can't hear it.
You can't hear.
No, I can't hear it because I'm behind the window.
Behind that.
But I can see it.
Yes.
So my perception senses of what that would be. So that therefore is my imagination creating that sound that I'm hearing.
Yes. Yes. No. I'm asking. I'm here. I'm only referring to the sense of only that sound.
Right. Okay.
Or sense of sight. Right. Let's isolate the one sense. The particular sense that you, when you hear this clap, you hear that experience. You experience a clap. Do you understand that? Agree? That experience of clapping, the clap experience, can clap experience have an expectation to hear a clap? No, because you know why? Because this happens first and then that happens. Right? That whatever that happened is an effect of what happened here. This is the cause and that is the effect. So effect can't have an expectation of the cause, because effect is an effect after the cause. Do you understand this? Mind is always an effect. Believe me or not, mind is always always is an effect. But do you have expectations or not?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that means you are not aware that you are an effect.
Oh, I like it.
Huh?
I like it.
Think. This is the mind lab. Incident happens, that triggers the cascade of reaction that creates the mind. Incident happens, that is the environment to create an effect of minding moments. Whatever that happens here triggers the clapping sound. Whatever the excitations happens because of this light rays they are exciting the electrons here. You remember in the chemistry that we learn these things? Excitations of electrons, and when it goes back to the ground state, it releases what? The releasing spectrum of the light energy. That is what comes to your eye. Before the seeing happens, before the seeing process happens, ladies and gentlemen, all these incidents has to align.
That's the energetic component.
Before the sense, incident always happens before the sense. When there's no incident, there's no sense.
And as a human, the physical realm, not the spiritual realm, we operate by using our five senses most of the time.
Yes.
That's how we live our life,
Yes.
isn't it, really?
Yes. Whatever the eye, ears, nose, your tongue, taste, tongue, and the whole body, and also the mind always also have another way of taking the knowledge. That is your memories, or you thinking happens. Even that is also very funny. Can you control what you think, or just thought happens out of the blue?
Personally, I think thought happens that you've not got control over it. That's my personal view.
You don't have any control.
Depending on this,
The previous incident?
depending what energy I'm in, or frequency and vibration I'm in at the time, could have an effect on my
The next thought.
Yes.
Yes. It's like this. When you are, let's say, when you are going to beach, right? Let's say you are in the side road of the beach. You can't see the beach. Now you know there's a
mind right now.
yes, yeah, there's a beach. Let's say that environment can trigger a thought. Okay, let's go to the beach and see.
And that triggers an expectation as well.
Then that triggers that triggers the expectation as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about the expectation process yet. I'm still giving you an understanding, a glimpse of how this thought process happens, how these experiences are generating. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever the sense that you experience is an effect. Whatever the incident that happens in the outside triggers this sense. Incident happens before the sense. Sense happens after that. Even though you are looking at the sun right now, can you look the sun that is present right at this moment? No, because it takes 8 minutes and 40 seconds to reach the sunlight to the earth. What you are seeing right now, it's sun that existed at least 8 minutes ago. See, you're always looking at expired things, thinking that you are living in the present moment. Can you live in the present moment? Think about it. Can you see the things that happen in the present moment? Okay, Even though you think that you are living in the present moment, ladies and gentlemen, incident happened just before your sense, millisecond, nanosecond before your sense.
It's like a hologram. Appear, little particles have to appear, and then you see it for what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever the perception happens, sense or perception, whatever the mind is happening. You know, minding means perception, the thinking, whatever that you name it, whatever, I don't know, because in Sinhala we have only one couple of words that we can explain. But I don't know how you feel when I say mind, how you feel when I say perception. So we need to have the common ground here. Perception, experience, the thought or sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Sense? Sensing happens because of the incident. But the thing is, when sensing happens, what happens to the incident? Is that incident is there or it's gone? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a cascade of reaction. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to here.
Mm-hmm.
When this happens, this is not there. Even though you have sense a clap sound while you are seeing the clapping incident, what you are sensing is always what? After this happens.
Delete.
This happens first. Whatever that happens in the outside happens first. What you experience is an effect of that incident.
You wouldn't smell the apple pie and getting baked.
Exactly. You got the idea. Likewise, now, even though you feel, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem we have. Even though you feel that you have a sense always there, the constant continuous sense, that is not true. The first thing in our science class that we learned about the matter, what is that?
I didn't do science.
Remember? Solid, liquid, gas. Remember something like that? We learned? There are 3 states of matter. Solid, liquid, gas. And then we learn solid is not a solid. Solid is also a densely packed, discrete entities, like small. It's not one thing. This is a aggregation of what?
Protons.
Whatever the atoms. Discrete? Discrete. It's not complete. It's discrete. It's not one thing. It's discrete. That's what we learn. Remember? You sense it as one object, but what actually there is discrete atoms. Agree? Agree? Similarly, the consciousness that you experience also, you feel what? Continuously there, but actually, truly, they are not continuous. What is actually there is always what? Rises and passes away, rises and passes away, rises and passes away. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, when you see this pen, can you see the pen?
Yes.
So what happened to the pen? I'm asking about the perception of that pen. Where is it now? Not in this one. Don't say that Swaminatha is hiding it. I can't hide your perception, ladies and gentlemen. Right? I'm talking about the whatever you felt, that experience. Okay. Blue pen. Do you experience a blue pen? Okay. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the contemplation. This is what we have been doing, the detox your mind. What you are doing is contemplation. Right? Okay. Now what is there? Perception of a pen happens. Okay, now what happens to the pen? Not this pen. That perception, it's not there. That means whatever the incident happens, it triggers this and passes away. It is not there always. Do you understand this? This happens very the faster. Like the frequency is so high. It's like this, ladies and gentlemen, you can see this bulb is actually blinking 50 hertz or 60 hertz. I don't know whether here 50 hertz? 50. 50 hertz. This bulb.
Yeah.
But do you see it?
No.
Likewise, your perception is perception is also what?
Can is also your own reality? Because we're all individual in how we perceive things.
Yeah, I mean, just that perception means that, the consciousness is not the one thing. It's fragments.
It's fragmented. Yeah.
Fragmented. Do you understand this point that I'm raising to you? Fragmented. You don't feel it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were watching a movie, you can eat popcorn while you're watching a movie, isn't it? You felt that you are watching a movie and eating a popcorn and you are listening to the sound as well, simultaneously. Ladies and gentlemen, even though you felt like that, actually what really happens there is, when you watch, you watch. When you eat, you eat. When you hear the sound, you hear the sound. That happens very faster like reaction. The seeing happens, hearing happens, eating happens. Seeing, hearing, eating, seeing, hearing. The moment that you feel the taste, that perception can't feel the colors. Right now, you can see me and you can hear my voice, isn't it? Right? But actually, truly what happens there is, when you see me, you can't hear my voice. That moment. That mind moment, you can't hear my voice. The moment that you hear my voice, you can't see me.
One thing at one time.
One thing at one time. Even the computer doing the same way. The computer, the processor, even though they say quad core, 8 core, 16 core, even though they say 16 core, one at a time. I don't know, sometimes the ladies telling that they can do multiple things at one time. Usually my mom, I'm talking about my mom and my back then wife, they were complaining about that. You can't do these things, but we can do. Multitask. Because usually guys, when we focus on the computer, we go blind. Right? That's what happened. That's my experience. When I was sewn into the computer or doing a video editing or something back then, I can't hear my wife calling. Right? Then, since I didn't reply, you know what happens? Things are moving faster. Kitchen utensils are, they gives high vibrations. Then I realized, something is wrong. Okay, what did you say?
It's so true though, because last week I get really hyper-focused. I've got a hyper-focused mind. And I was working on the computer trying to work out a microphone. And it was 2.5 hours later I realised the cat was meowing, I was in the pitch black. And I was just so focused on the one thing.
For that
time. And it was phenomenal. It was actually like, wow. Yeah. Nothing else existed in that time or space,
Yes.
bar that one thing. It's quite a lesson.
That's why I'm asking. Right at this moment, if this is the mind that you are enjoying each and every moment, you know what I mean? Enjoying means enjoying means what you experience each and every moment, what you experience. What you experience each and every moment is that moment. Ladies and gentlemen, present moment is not the present moment. It's temporal present. No. Present moment is the present moment. Present. Here I am presenting. Ladies and gentlemen, here I am presenting. You know, presenting. Presentations. This is a gift that you receive from the Mother Nature. If I simply draw, who are you? A moment of you is this. You know, I'm not drawing a mountain. This is like a minding, a sine curve activity that represent, okay? Do you understand that? Don't think that I am a mountain. No. I didn't say that it's a mountain. This is like happens and pass away. The mind created and pass away. It's a process. The process of perception happens and pass away. You know, this process doesn't have an idea that it is a process. The process is a process, is a process. But this is you. This is I am. You know, the thing is, people feel different negative emotions. It happens because of that they don't have an idea what's going on with them. Right? So, when you are listening to these talks, what you are doing is you are gaining an idea, an understanding who are you truly, who you are truly. You are getting the awareness. What happens right now? Because when you don't know about this, that's why in the long picture you are trying to achieve things. In the conventional world, you can say that I achieved, but the thing is, truth be told, what you didn't have it, you haven't achieved anything. I can prove to you now. Let's see. Let's go forward, huh? You know this, when this minding moment happens because of the incident is not there when this happens. Do you understand that? Incident happened first and the minding moment happens. And then it goes away, the next incident happens, then next minding moment happens. It goes away. And next incident happens, next minding moment happens. So this is the journey that you are living. Incident, sense, incident, sense, incident, sense, incident, sense. I am the Rupa, I am the object. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and then thought. This is very funny. The Buddha, in the Buddha's Dhamma, the teachings, it says that when the I and the object meets each other, that align each other, it creates this. After one incident of one mind, the one sight mind created, right? Then there are multiple mind. mind, the thought. After sight happens, thought process happens. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, you can't see the colors, you can see what? When you see this, are you seeing the color or are you seeing the pen?
Pen.
Initially what you are seeing?
An object.
Before you understand the object, what you see? Colors. Can you see the colors first? Colors, and then the shape, and then the object, and then the pen. That is the development of the perception. Do you understand that? Colors, shape, then what happens?
Takes form.
The whatever the you name it, whatever the pen, that the experience of an object happens. Agree? I'm sorry. When this happens, this creates the mind. That mind goes away. Then memory is playing a game here. You know what I mean? This happens, that creates the perception of a pen, perception of colors. Then it gone. Then the memory and the mind comes together. That creates the mind being moment. Like you get the thoughts. The thoughts are manifesting. This is the process that happens to you.
And the memory is trapped in the past, so the thought can be.
That means what you perceive is actually blue color. When you see this, the top part, can you see the bottom part? When you focus on the top part, can you focus on the bottom part? No. First you see the top part and then you see the bottom part. Right? In the memory you collect everything.
Yes.
And you perceive it as one. As a pen. Do you understand this? So that means memory is playing a game here. Memory and the object. The memory object and the mind is also coming together to experience again the minding moment. Right? Actually, then when you perceive, when you perceive, that perception means what? I'm sorry. When you perceive, the perception means what? Perception means not one thing. It is a combination of memories and the incident that happens, cascade of reaction. That triggers the cascade of reaction and then complete the perception.
Which memory can be part of.
Yes. Because when you recognize a pen, you need the memory as well. Right? What do you call this? Pen. What do you call this? Tissue. Serviette, whatever. Right? I mean, you get the memory as well. So memory is playing a game here. But the thing is, the problem is not with the memory, but you feel what? You don't feel that this is something like this process. You feel that, okay, I perceive what? I have seen a pen. That is the problem here. You can't see the pen. Seeing happens. You can't see the pen. When I'm presenting, perception happens. Perception happens. In the perception, it creates a story, what? A pen. Right? But you can't see a pen.
It's an illusion.
Sight happens. Sighting. How can we say that? Sighting? Seeing. Seeing means, I mean, you feel that you are doing an action here. If you are doing an action in the perception of a pen, right? Stop doing it. Stop perceiving a pen.
It's difficult.
Don't close your eyes. Keep your eyes open. Don't you feel a pen? Don't you see a pen? Don't listen to what I'm saying. Hello. Don't listen. Hello. Hello. Don't listen. If you have a control, do that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so funny. You know, we don't want. If you don't want to see, we close our eyes, right? When you close your eyes, you still see what? Black color. You can't stop perceiving colors. You can't stop perceiving sound. When the stars are aligned, it happens. When the courses are aligning, it happens. You don't play a role in the middle of this perception process. You can't do anything. But naturally, mind is, even though we felt a void, mind is very pure. You know, pure means perception of a pen happens. There's no void there. Perception of a pen happens. Perception of a cup or whatever that when I say something, hello, the perception of hello happens. Can you feel that you are seated?
Yes.
Right now you realize that you are seated.
Yes. Steadily.
And because of the memory, now you feel for 1 hour or whatever the 30 minutes that we stayed here right now, you have been seated. Now memory is aggregating, collecting and giving you the sense of what? You have been seated for a long time. That means, ladies and gentlemen, each and every moment, mind is very innocent. Mind is only perceiving what it brings, what it comes to that experience. Our mind doesn't have a right to choose what to see and what not to see. Do you understand that point? Mind doesn't have a right to choose what to see and what not to see. Just seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. The process of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting happens. Nothing else. Seeing process doesn't have a void. Hearing process doesn't have a void to fulfill. Tasting process doesn't have a void to fulfill. Thought process doesn't have a void to fulfill. It does not have a void. But you feel, right? Don't you feel? Don't you feel that I need to do something here? You are doing something right now. You feel that you are listening to me, isn't it? You feel that you are listening to me. You feel that you are listening to me. You feel that you are doing something here. That's what we have been discussing in the morning. Remember the conversation I had with you in the morning? An illusion. The illusion of self. It happens right now. That's why you feel that you are playing an action, you are doing a role, you are doing something here. Actually, don't you understand that mind is very innocent? If mind is something like this, after the incident that happens, how can it have an expectation? Can it have an expectation? Can this mind can this mind, right, has an expectation what to happen next? Let's say incident happens. Incident 1 happens, then mind happens. This mind that happens after the incident 1 does not have a ground to think, to expect what would be the incident.
But the memory would come in then, would it not?
Yeah, memory would come or not, who knows?
Yeah. Because if the memory came in, that can next as well.
You know, this creates the environment to the incident too. But can it have an expectation? Okay, this will be my incident too, to perceive next mind. This mind cannot guess, cannot expect this will be the next mind.
So that's the innocent mind. Will that be innocent mind to start with then? Perhaps?
Yes.
The innocent mind? Yeah.
The innocent mind, this is also another innocent mind. Incident 1, incident 2, incident 3, incident 4. This leads to this, 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 leads to... this is like what?
Table tennis.
Table tennis. Okay. Dominoes. Dominoes. This is what happens. That's why this total process, you can't stop, you can't control, it happens. From morning to night, whatever the life that you spend right now, you can't have an expectations. But because of the ignorance in the mind feels, okay, I can expect. That's why, when I say cake, what do you get? See, I didn't say chocolate cake. Okay, cake. What do you have there today? I saw a cake there. Red velvet. Okay, okay.
Too. I've just remembered.
See?
It's coming now.
Okay. Okay. I said cake. You just have to what? Sense cake, and then that's it. I didn't ask you to think about red velvet cake or chocolate cake or chocolate gâteau or whatever the cake that you name. I don't know. No, I said, okay, I'm going to give you a cake. Let's say I said, okay, I'm going to give you a cake. I went to the kitchen. The moment that I appear, let's say I was appearing in front of you with a piece of cakes, that I didn't see you. I didn't show you that. I'm appearing from there, that's the kitchen. Let's say the moment that I enter the room, think about your mind, what do you feel? Chocolate cake, chocolate cake. You have the expectation. The thing is, you can't stop creating it. It happens. You can't stop happening it. Don't think about chocolate cake when I say, even though I said like that.
Oh, don't.
No. I was kidding. Right? Even though I said, okay, don't expect. Okay, can you stop expecting? No, ladies and gentlemen, it happens. The other day I was thinking, okay, when I was getting to the plane yesterday, after coming to the Auckland airport, that is from Dubai to Doha to Auckland flight, and I had to get another plane to Christchurch, Air New Zealand. So I thought, I got an idea. Okay, let's Google about the what? Air New Zealand. Air New Zealand. I was keen on what do they have, the fleet. Right? I had an idea. Okay, I need to search. What was my expectation? I had an expectation. You know what? By looking at the fleet, when I Google it, I had an expectation from the Google that I would be able to find it out.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, that finding it out, the number of fleet that they have would fulfill me.
Satisfaction.
Okay, now I understood. Okay, how many fleets are there? How many flights? Okay, now yes. Then, what did I get? Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get a trophy or something? Wow, ecstasy and happy. Is it there right now? No. These are the things that I contemplate. This happens.
And satisfaction.
Curiosity kills the cat.
That's just what I was going to say. We were saying in Scotland, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
But you got knowledge.
Okay. You got knowledge.
And
You got knowledge means you got an idea of how many fleets are there, how many number of fleet, the flights, right? Number of fleet. Okay. Then do you have that mind? Ladies and gentlemen, you can't keep this mind. Can you keep this out?
No, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone, but it's in your memory.
Memory again. You have to recreate the memory again.
Yeah.
Listen, don't think that when you are memorizing, you are creating the same experience. You can't create the same experience, ladies and gentlemen, when you are memorizing. That's why, let's say after your father dies, you feel very sad. When you recall that memory after 1 year, do you feel the same level of sadness? No, you can't recreate the same experience again. It's like, that CD, James Bond, TV. So is it TV series or no? It's a movie, right? James Bond DVD. When you play the James Bond DVD, do you think the James Bond is there in the DVD? Huh?
Yeah.
In those days.
I'll tell you, can I take it back to the chocolate? I'll take it back to the chocolate cake because that's still in my mind. The first bite of the chocolate cake is amazing, but the second bite of the chocolate cake is not the same as the first bite of the chocolate cake.
Yes. But let's say I'm not giving you a chocolate cake for 6 months.
I'm not going to speak to you then.
Let's say you have a chocolate cake after 6 months. You feel, oh my God.
This is nice.
And then the second bite will be like the same as the first bite, or it will be reduced?
I think it'll be reduced. Just
Reduced? And the ready.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm giving you 10 kilos of chocolate cake. No, you have to eat. I hate chocolate cake. You know, just a moment ago you were saying what? I love chocolate cake. And after giving you 10 kilos of chocolate cake, I hate chocolate cake. No more chocolate cake for at least 1 week. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, now think. That's a good point that we discuss. Even though memory, you think that you look at it, you learn it, and you have the memory. Have you met people who has dementia?
Yeah, my father's actually.
So what happened to the memories that they have collected? I mean, people
some of them
are
are still there and some of them aren't there. With dementia.
It's system jammed.
Yeah.
They can't put it in a line together.
It's fragmented again.
I remember those days when I was volunteering in a aged care center. Every day I have to introduce, I am this, you are this, hello sir. Because he doesn't know his name.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
My father, although he's in Scotland now, so it's quite difficult, but I was trying to explain this to my mum just when you're bringing that up as well, is my father's memory, the recall, different, the memory recall, he doesn't know where he is. And I said to Mum, but where he is is his own altered state of consciousness, but he's living that and it's real to him at that particular time, as everything that we live in here and now is individual to us and how we perceive our consciousness as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. Just
Yeah.
something just clicked in my mind there too.
Now think about, can you stop clicking that thing? It happens. Is it that you have done it or just happens? When I talked about the dementia, right? Then what happened?
You talked about my father.
I didn't talk about your father.
No, but I'll get emotional. Whoa.
That happens.
Excuse me.
Right? I mean, that happens. Mind cannot control what happens. I didn't talk about anything. What happened? Memory comes and then create another minding moment. You are not suffering because of the Father. You are suffering at this moment because of the ignorance. People are suffering because of the ignorance in the present moment. I can see this gentleman. Can you see him?
Yes.
Can you see me? What is truly special in his rather than me? Is there any special thing that is there in his body that is not there in my body? We all are same. You and me, everybody is same, but we don't feel in that way. Because our illusionary mind is sensing what? Speciality, in specific, in uniqueness. In specific, you're sensing uniqueness in things. Unique things. You have a sense that there are unique entities. That is the problem here. That's why you feel very special about your father. I feel very special about my father. If I feel special about my father, if I feel special about my mother, rather than your mother and your father, then I am ignorant. Do you understand that? Ignorant to the reality. We all one. When you realize that, that realization drops the suffering. Let's move back to the story.
Yeah.
I was talking about the James Bond in the CD. CD doesn't contain the James Bond. It has 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 patterns. Likewise, ladies and gentlemen, your memory, don't think your memory is there. So don't think what you have seen in the memory is in the memory. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Close your eyes and think about it. What you are doing is recreating it from the fragments that you can collect. You are recreating from the different fragments. That means your memory is not, don't think memory is there. I mean, you have a memory of a saucer. No. When you are thinking about it, actually that is also an aggregation process.
It's like a pixelation of the photograph.
Yes. When you recall whatever that you have done in the past, what you are doing is you are recalling fragments, recreating that. You can't recreate that moment. You can't recreate that experience, but similar thing. Not identical. Because this present moment causes and conditions cannot be recreated in the next moments, ladies and gentlemen. Present moment the conditions and the causes, you can't recreate it in the next moment. Because there's no you to create it, it happens. That's why I'm asking, okay, things that you have learned, things that you have looked, then things that you have Googled. Okay, congratulations, you have learned a lot of things. What is there with you right now? Zero. You are just a mind. I mean, don't think that same mind is there. You are just a process. Process happens. The process happens. This. That's it. Nothing else. Do you understand this?
Yes.
But how we can have expectation then? What is the process that underlying to bring this expectation? This is something you have to understand. When incident leads to the minding process, ladies and gentlemen, when incident leads to the minding process, after the incident, minding process happens. This minding process happens with the ignorance. Again, I'm reciting it again. Minding process happens always with the ignorance. That means ignorance is get on to this journey. Ignorance is get on to this journey, and it's like this. Let's say this mind is getting pregnant. Or the thing that I explained. The mind is infecting with the virus. Each and every mind that we experience has an expectation. Don't worry. This is there since you were born, ladies and gentlemen. You are suffering each and every moment. That's why, even though I can tell you that you are suffering this moment as well, but you don't feel it. You feel that you are living a normal life. You are living a normal life. But we all are suffering. Suffering means there's a vexation in the mind. Mind feels there's a void. Because of the ignorance, whatever the mind feels, there's a void. Do you understand my point? Mind feels that there's a void, something to do here. Something is not right. Okay, let's get rid of this part. Now, this means there's no ignorance. The mind is aware about the mind. Do you understand this? The mind, blue color means what? The natural state of the mind. There's no ignorance at all right now. Now, this mind is aware about the mind, about itself. This is self-aware mind. Awareness of awareness is there. Do you understand that? Awareness of awareness is there. It does not feel a void. It does not sense a void to fulfill. Hearing and clapping. Hearing and clapping. Bye-bye. Do you see this? That's it. It does not sense a void. The perception does not sense a void. Something to do? No. It happens. This you can't experience. Because you are not seeing, you are watching. Are you watching at me or seeing? Seeing happens or watching? What do you feel? You are looking at me, right? You are looking at me, right? But what actually happens there is what? Are you looking at me? Oh, are you looking at me? Or after this incident that creates the the colors in the mind and creates the perception of 𝗘𝗃𝗏.
Creating perception.
Is there any, you know what, do you have to get ready the eye retina? Okay, now you're going to see. The eye is getting ready to... Do you know what I mean? Now, eye retina is getting ready. The lens is getting ready to see. Do you do something like that? No. Is your ear is hearing the sensing the vibrations, right? Are you getting is there any part of the ear is getting ready to sense the vibration? Are you doing anything to get? So it happens. It happens. Even though you felt that you are there and looking at the outside, even though you felt that you are there and you are hearing what comes from the outside, actually you are not doing anything here. It happens. Do you understand this?
But we feel.
You feel in the opposite way. Yeah. That because of, ladies and gentlemen, the ignorance is hijacking the minding process, creates an illusion, illusionary sense that you are doing it.
I am.
I am. Ego, you can say ego, you can say self, you can say whatever the name that you can give. You feel that
Control.
you can control.
Yeah.
That's why you have expectations.
Yeah.
I am doing this. I can give you an analogy. imagine there's a truck. This is moving towards the down because of the gravity. Do you think people, it's like somebody, right, is pushing this truck from the back, thinking that since he pushes, this goes down. What is the role, the duty of this person? Is he doing something worth? The truck is because of the gravity, right? This is flowing down. This is going down, right? The role of this man. I mean, it is not essential that with the movement of this truck, right, does not depends on this man's action.
He's not the cause of the effect.
Do you understand that? He is doing artificial thing. He is doing something that he doesn't have to do.
But his mind's telling him to do it.
You know what? When he pushes, it goes down. He thinks, see, it's me is doing this. So he keeps running, and he's pushing again and again and again. This is what happening to you. Another analogy. It's like you get onto the bus. Imagine that you are getting to the bus. You can see all the people are pushing the front seat. You think, okay, if I get into the bus, I have to push the front seat, then it will go forward. Now what you're doing is, you're pushing the front seat like this. Do you have to do that?
Actually, can I say something? When you're a passenger in a car and somebody's driving and you're maybe not happy with their driving, your foot goes down to try and put the brake down. Same thing. You're trying to control the brake pedal. Same thing. You can.
But you know that there's no brake pedal in there.
There's no, but you're still trying to control it. You know?
Yeah, I remember when my wife was that back then when she was driving.
You were doing the same.
I did the same. I was like, when there's a speed camera, come on, stop it. Slow down. And automatically my foot is going to the brake pedal. There's no brake pedal there. But this happens. Do you have this kind of experience? Same thing. This is the analogy.
Controlling.
You feel that you can control, but there's no control.
Yeah, I know.
But you feel. Likewise, ladies and gentlemen, when mind happens, when mind born with the ignorance, this mind is sensing a void to fulfill. If there's a void, what has to do? If there's a void, what you have to do?
Fill it.
Tell me. Fill it. You feel that there's the empty space. Feel something. Empty. When you feel emptiness, you feel what? Can we put something there? Those days I remember when my parents, when they built the new house, when we enter, right, there was a lot of empty cupboards, empty drawers. I was putting different things there because emptiness, uncomfortable. You need to keep something there. Because when you feel a void, when you feel not something has to be there, you do something. You have this experience, ladies and gentlemen, since you were born. Because
I don't like space. We had an argument at our house. My wife's mother was an artist. We had a big wall. I only had one painting on. So she gave us another painting to fill up the wall. But I actually liked the wall without the painting. But it was a nice painting, so we kept painting. But the wall was fine being empty.
But you need at least a wall, right?
But there's a wall there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
The walls bringing in space of expansiousness.
wall, you're satisfied with having a wall as well. Let's say I'm going to put you in an empty space, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
You don't like to stay there. You feel, I need to see something. Everywhere you can see white color.
That's safety and structure sometimes as well. What we for to be learned behaviour and normality in our life, that we need this construct of a house and the walls to feel secure and safer.
Secure, safer, and you feel,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to feel secure and safer.
That's right.
You know why? You don't feel you are a mind.
Yeah.
You feel that you are you. Mind is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Mind is now having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
What is the baby? What is the name of this baby?
The thought police.
No. No.
Self sense of self.
Mind feels there's a self.
Mm.
You know what? You feel there's a self because you are doing something. Again, I'm going to explain this slowly. Try to understand this. This is so fine-tuned, very fine level of knowledge, wisdom. This is what we practice. As a result of that I told you. You feel that you are doing something worth. Something. You are looking at me. No. Seeing happens, but because of the ignorance, that mind experiences that mind is doing something. As a result of that doing something, that mind feels what? I am. If there's I am, then something has to be done. Otherwise you won't feel that you are doing anything. You feel special when you are doing something.
That's a worthiness of self. It's self-worth.
Yeah. Because when you feel self, that self-feeling happens because of that action, doing something. The sense of false sense of doing.
Yeah.
Do you understand this? False sense of doing. Not being, but doing. It's the false sense of doing. The false sense of doing leads to the false sense of what? Self. That is the illusionary experience that you feel right now. You feel that you are the same person is there since we started the conversation. Do you feel that? I mean, it's not, but do you sense it? Normally, we feel what? Now we have been doing this, listening to this conversation for now 1 hour, 1.5 hours. When you say that, what you sense is the same person is living throughout the time.
Yeah.
Do you understand this? This happens because of, ladies and gentlemen, each mind is getting pregnant.
Lots of chocolate cake.
This is self, this feels self, this feels self, this feels self, this feels self, this is self. This self experience provides the ignorance to the next. That leads to the self experience. This self experience provides the ignorance to the next.
It breeds. Exactly.
You know, this is, the ignorance is also not there. That is also what? Gifted to the next mind because of the previous mind's
The mindset.
pregnant with the self. Pregnant with the self. I don't like that to say like that, but the pregnant means like this is not something it has to bear, but it is there.
Production.
I'm not saying there's no self, ladies and gentlemen, because when I say there's no self, you can't agree with that. Because you feel.
Self is identity as well.
This mind feels itself, it's an identity. It feels that it is it is unique. This is the self means, don't think that there's a baby called self. Do you think like that? No, right? This is a sense. What do you have in the mind? Mind always feels what? Feelings, senses. Do you understand that? Mind feels sense. Mind's job. What is the job of the mind? Sense. Even though there's ignorance or not, what is doing? Sensing. Okay, when there's ignorance, it is sensing. This mind happens to sense a pen. That is the natural mind. Mind happens to sense a pen. At the same time, now it happens what? A sense of a self. Now, because of sense of a self, because of this, this is not something natural. This is artificially created because of the ignorance. Whatever the incident, that doesn't support for this. Do you understand this? If there's no ignorance, there won't be a sense of self. Incident triggers the pen perception. That is it. Incident always triggers the perception of a pen. That's it. The incident can't create a sense of self. Sense of self happens because of the ignorance. Sense of self happens because of the ignorance. Now that happens, now there's a sense of self. Right? That leads to the ignorance. That leads to that sense of self gives ignorance to the next mind. That's why you feel the one entity. You feel that, that entity. You feel, the self means what? I don't like to say it's self. You feel the uniqueness. Yourself is not myself, isn't it? Yourself is not myself, isn't it?
Consciousness.
What do you think? This is the irony of this is, ladies and gentlemen, whatever that you sense as a self and whatever that self as a sense as a self that happens here are same, identical twins.
One is that as if there's one fragmented consciousness amongst everybody, so we're all part of each other.
Give me 1 second, like this. I will explain this. Let's say that you have consciousness. Mm-hmm. You have your mind and your mind. Yeah. Let's bring it to the table.
Okay.
Your minding moment, one mind is now in this table and your mind is also in the table. And this mind is now pregnant with sense of self. Mm-hmm. This mind is pregnant with sense of self. Mm-hmm. Right? Let's isolate the sense of self from this mind and let's isolate the sense of self from this mind. Mm-hmm. Is there a difference between these two or these are same, identical? Ladies and gentlemen, identical. But the irony of that sense of self, irony of it is that feels, that is, this is this, and this is not this. Your me and my me are same, but your me feels my me is not your me. I don't know whether my English is enough to explain this. Your me
Yes.
feels my me is not your me.
You're saying fears or feels?
Feels.
Feels as in touch.
No.
Fears.
The sense.
Senses.
Sense.
Right, feels as in that one, right. Yeah.
Because
But then do you not have to be in the same wavelength to pick that up, or does it matter? Frequency?
no, it's same frequency. Same. Identical.
Okay.
But you don't feel in that way. Irony of that is you feel the same way as I feel, that I am and your I am.
Mm-hmm.
The senses are identical.
But the perception's different.
Perceive in a different way.
Yes.
The perception that sense is identical, but it perceives at what? It as what? You are you and I am me. I am not you, you are not me. Similarly, this is not this, this is not this, this is this, this is this.
But we can still pick.
There's no difference between these two. How can we say that? These are same electrons, proton, neutron arranged in a different way. Blue color is what you experience.
Mm-hmm.
Red color is what you experience. When you get rid of blueness and the redness out of this, what truly there is what? Atoms. Electrons, protons, neutrons. Likewise, your mind and my mind, there's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, all the perceptions, that is what we discuss about the ocean of perception. We all are in the ocean of perception.
Take away all of this and just focus on
Perception. At this moment, do you perceive something? You perceive, I perceive. All perceptions are same, identical. But because of this
sense of self.
ignorance is creating a sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
That sense of self now experience, that mind is unique mind compared to the other minds.
Without the sense of self, let's say there's no ignorance. Without the sense of self, you hold up the two pens. There's a impression of the pens, a sense of the pens still there.
No.
So the mind senses the
Blue pen and red pen.
even without the sense of self.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. Ladies and gentlemen, you feel there's a blue pen in the blue pen. There's a red pen in the red pen. But when there's no sense of self, what actually happens is, still you feel the difference, but you know there's no difference. It's like this. Still magic is there. But when you know the logic of the magic, still you can see the magic, but you won't fall for it, because you don't feel from the bottom of your heart that difference is truly there, but difference of perception happens, that is there. Do you understand that? It's like a little boy is thinking that Santa Claus is there. You are aware about the Santa Claus, but you are not aware about this. That's the problem. Right? Santa Claus, okay. When you think Santa Claus is not there, sorry, the boy is thinking Santa Claus is there, now he is expecting what? One day I will see the Santa Claus and he will give me gifts. Right? Now he is expecting to see the Santa Claus. Can you do that? Can you fulfill his expectation? No, because what you have to do is you can't show him Santa Claus. What you can do is getting rid of the ignorance of his mind, that teaching him Santa Claus is a concept. Likewise, conceptually you can feel the difference, but there's no truly different entities exist here. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever the environment that you are living, there are no entities. The environment that you live, right? There's no separation. Even though you feel these different things separated, but there's no separation. You all are harmonized. Harmonized? Yes. Your frequency of your mind frequency is completely harmonized with my mind frequency.
As with nature.
Nature.
So if you don't have a sense of self, this I have trouble understanding.
This could be your ego as well. Identity.
Do you stop doing?
No. Because do you stop doing? Yes. Wait. You stop doing? No. Wait. You're not stop. Whatever that you have been doing since you were born is not your doing. It is happening.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
Allow it to happen without.
Whatever that you have been doing is not what you have been doing. It was happening. So when you realize that, okay, I was not doing, right? That realization, let's say you get rid of the ignorance out of this. Now what happens? Still the perception process happens.
It's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
But it's very hard to get around the thing that if I do something, if I don't do anything, it feels like if I don't do anything, nothing will happen.
No.
But that's cause and effect.
Nothing. You didn't do anything. That's why I told you, even though you feel that you're looking at me, no. Seeing happens, hearing happens, smelling happens, tasting happens, thinking happens, walking happens. Walking happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether you can grasp this. Whatever that happens, okay, let's go back to your story, life story. When you wake up, a thought comes to you to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Is it something you are bringing or it happens? It happens. And after that thought comes to your mind, that creates the cascade of reaction of what? Going to the bathroom, and then brushing the teeth. Those cascade of reaction actually does not need a self to do those things.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, it just happens.
One leads to the other, leads to the other, leads to the other, leads to the other.
It's like unconsciousness.
Consciousness is not actually a controller here.
Yeah.
Consciousness is an effect, and that effect causes to the next effect, causes to the next effect, causes to the next effect. Do you understand this?
Yet we still have people who don't look after their teeth.
Huh?
Okay? We still have people who don't clean teeth.
Who don't?
Clean teeth. And
Let's go back to the rituals.
their teeth goes rotten and falls out.
Yes.
So why cleaning teeth happen to me and not happen to them?
Because somebody, since when you were a child, somebody told you to do so.
Learned behavior.
That is the point. That is the view. That is the perspective that this minding process has.
And that goes into subconscious thought, does it not? That's
It's a habit. It becomes the habit.
And a habit's the past. The past.
It happens. Whatever from the memory, it creates that environment. Then triggers. What I've been talking right now, what I've been telling to you right now, is actually you are not an essential character for what you're doing right now.
Can I clarify? So the thought to get up and brush your teeth, you're saying that's not yourself? Because I was thinking that you don't even need the thought, but you're saying the thought does need to happen, but that thought is not yourself.
Yeah, that thought happens. That thought happens with the ignorance. That's why you feel that you are doing it.
The sense of self.
I mean, madam, throughout this life, you haven't experienced mind without a sense of self. Don't worry. This is where everywhere. Did I get the point clear? During this life, you haven't had an experience at all without a sense of self. Because this mind leads to the ignorance of this mind, leads to the ignorance of this mind. The ignorance is also what? Cascade of reaction. Do you understand that? This sense of self creates the causes to the next sense of self. Creates the causes to the next sense of self. If that is the case, none of the mind in your life that you, in this minding process, cannot escape from getting the being infected with the sense of self, because that is coming from the previous mind's experience.
Which is your mindset, because it's been set from past experience.
Past experience. Do you understand that? Rightwise, what I am now showing to you, without the sense of self, still thought will happen. Because the red color process doesn't need to happen the blue color process. Red color process, there's no connection with blue color process at all. Red color process is a red color process that is relying on what? Blue color process. It's like parasite. That's why we call it ignorance. Ignorance, that means unawareness of the awareness. Sorry, unaware. Unaware. Yes, you are unaware about the awareness. That's why you feel that, okay, there's a void to fulfill and you're trying to do something. Because of that you're trying to do something, it creates what? An illusionary experience, a false sense of existence.
Which could be a negative thought pattern, for example.
Yes.
So you would come in and hide that to take it away, to then substitute it with something else. Yeah.
Did you get the...
Yeah, what I was more asking is, do you even need the thought for action?
Yes.
You do need the thought?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what you ask. Yes. The thought happens, that leads to the action. Because even though, I mean, that's really funny. Sometimes you perform, you didn't know that you thought about it. That can be happen, but actually it happens. Thought happens. Brain is actually a puppet. The scientists are trying to find how brain is operating this. No, behind the curtain, mind is the controller of the brain. Mind is always doing, mind is the master. Mind is always doing it. Brain is just a puppet.
It's always searching, it's always looking, nothing to do.
Untamed mind means unaware mind. The mind that has unaware. The awareness. Awareness is not there.
And it's very difficult to quieten the mind. And Dan, you do meditation as well. Most people here do meditation. And the first thing you want to do is when you try and quieten your mind is to come into that quiet space. And that's when your mind goes crazy. You go to bed at night and you want to go to sleep and you want to rest. And normally that's the time where everything will still come flooding in because you're trying to control not thinking.
But when you understand this, you can't control it.
Yes, you can. I know. Yeah,
That realization shows you, that realization gives an experience to you that that empowers you.
Totally.
When mind is free from the defilement, mind is free.
It's fascinating.
When mind is aware about itself, that it's a mind that arises only this moment, there's no person, there's no doer, it happens. That awareness empowers the mind. Because what happened here, even though I wrote in a simple reaction, right? This is not like this. Ignorance leads to the attachment. This attachment is not to the attachment to the cake, right? Don't think that is the attachment to the cake, chocolate cake. This attachment is attaching to experience an entity, to experience a self, to experience something worth doing. Ignorance creates a void. That your mind feels that void. As a result of that, now you feel the void. Sorry. Now you are trying to fulfill the void by doing some action. Action to fulfill.
To fulfill the empty space that you think.
The void. Right? And that triggers. This leads to what? A sense that you did it. Did something.
You push the car down the hill.
Right? When you sense that you have done something, that sense, you feel that you fulfill this void. Right? And it positively reconfirms what is being the idea of that you have to do something is correct. Because ignorance means ignorance, we can say ignorance means in the other way around, there are an entity. There are different entities. These are different uniqueness is there in the world. Now mind has a void to experience a uniqueness. Mind is vexing to experience a uniqueness. Mind is experiencing a void to experience a uniqueness. Because of this void, now mind is doing an action to experience that what? Uniqueness. Now it is creating an artificial illusionary experience. What is that? Uniqueness. As a result of that, it confirms what? The ignorance. And hence, result of that, attachment again happens. This is a vicious cycle that is being infected with each and every mind. It's like a drug. Addicted.
Will the same action happen regardless of this process?
Again? Sorry?
Will the same action happen regardless of this process? Is this all just a mental process? Or does it actually change the action that happens?
No. This is totally mental. Right? What actually but this has some influence to the action, madam. It's like this. Let's say you are hungry. You are eating for your hunger. Then that action is happening because of what? Truly there's a requirement to eat.
There's a need.
Right? Eating happens, the physical action happens because there's a requirement. When you are hungry, you have a preference to eat a chocolate cake.
Why'd you look at me?
I was kidding. A chocolate cake. Now you are going to search. Now you are going for looking for a chocolate cake shop. You know that action. The chocolate cake, searching for a chocolate cake, that action happens because of this process. Do you understand that? Because if you want to eat, okay, whatever that you can find it nearby, you can have anything. But because of the ignorance, there's a void. As a result of that, chocolate cake is unique. The experience that you experience with the chocolate cake. Do you feel a saucer? If I have a chocolate cake on this saucer, even the saucer is good because of the chocolate cake. You know what I mean? That's look nice. I mean, that's why, because of the ignorance, it has some effect on the action as well. I can't say action is actually always neutral. But because of the ignorance, the action is also infecting. Action means what you are referring to is what brain is doing here. The bodily action, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
You are referring to? Yes. But mental process is fully like a hell. Yeah, this process ruins all the minds that happened in the past. Even it will ruin your future as well. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, we are against the ignorance. You know what I was doing? What's the time now, madam?
I think I'm 10 minutes slow. I think it's about 4:15 or 4:20. Can somebody confirm?
25 past 4.
25 past 4.
Okay.
My watch is slow.
See, now we have been talking for 2 hours, right?
Wow, doesn't seem like that.
Right? Even though you felt, this is the thing. Where were you?
It's just communicating with the next
When what happens? Sorry, put me in right. For these 2.5 hours, what I was doing is actually tapping to the ignorance. When you are looking at me and when you are listening to me, when I'm proving to you that there's no there's no you. You are not looking, actually seeing happens. That moment that you experience, that idea is the moment that you go against the ignorance. These are the mindful awareness moments. That's why you said, seeing happens. When you're nodding and when you're accepting that idea, these are the moments of mindful awareness. Aha moments. But the thing is, again, ignorance is jumping because of what? The natural tendency is what? Going back to the normal way. That's why when you are listening to this talk, we have created an environment, a noble association. That's what we call, to experience the reality. This is the process of natural, this is the natural process. This is the ignorant and artificial process, the defilement process. The defilement process always defiles the natural process. As a result of that, natural process can't experience in a natural way. That's why seeing happens. Because of the defilement process, it creates a sense of self and feels that you are looking at.
And the majority of the population live in the red.
Living with the red.
Yeah, living with the red, yeah.
Not majority, 100%. 99.999. That's why people feel stress, anxiety, depression. Mental pressure happens because of the ignorance. You know this void?
It's a sense of self again.
You know this void? The void is artificial. Right? This is an illusionary void. The false sense of void leads to false sense of action, leads to false sense of fulfillment, leads to false sense of idea of what? I have to do something here.
And everybody's level of void is unique to them.
Yes.
So their self, I'm going to use the word, is uneven, so to speak.
You can experience this. Think about, Mama, I want to buy a computer. I want a computer. Okay, if you want a computer, pass this exam. Then, now there's a void. What is the void? Computer. Right? You heard about the computer from one of your friends and you felt, okay, he is having a computer, because of that he is having a happy life. I don't have a computer, so I have a void here. Now let's try to fulfill. I mean, you get nothing. Right? But you feel, I achieved it. Once you achieve it, let's say after you pass the exam, right, your mom is giving you something, a computer, and you feel what? I achieved it. You know that the satisfaction you felt is actually an illusionary satisfaction. It's not a satisfaction. It's a reduction of the vexation.
Until the next time.
Again another void. This is the roller coaster ride everybody experiences. Not only everybody, every mind experiences. Each and every mind is having a void to experience a uniqueness.
And that void sometimes comes from the sense of lack as to what they determined lack to be.
Yeah. That's why you always feel that you have to do something, lacking something. I mean, think about your life, you feel that you're lacking something. Every moment, can't we do something?
And it's difficult, I think, when you're wired, well, I'm saying when you're wired that way, but life and society and the expectations that it brings. I had an example just yesterday. It was after we had those terrible days of weather. I think it might have been yesterday morning. It was yesterday. And I just sat out on the grass and allowed the sun to hit my face and my skin. And I just had that overwhelming feeling of connectedness to everything, that nothing else existed. That was beautiful. But I was being, I was doing, and my mind was blank.
Yes.
That was beauty in itself yesterday. And it was 10 minutes, and it maybe led to like 25 minutes afterwards that I realised that I was just in this space of nothingness, which was beautiful. But it took my realisation afterwards, golly, you've not been doing that, girl. You need to get back into that again.
Again, yes.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Again the void happens.
Yes. Self-awareness.
Self-awareness is the key point here.
Yeah.
When you realize that you are an effect, you are an effect. Effect can't have expectations.
Mm-hmm.
When awareness happens about the awareness, that awareness triggers that awareness inhibit the defilement process. You won't feel a void.
It's like when a thought arises in the morning, if that thought is not conducive or healthy, then the hijacking can then come in to decide which way forward to go with that particular thought.
Yes.
Hijacking. I like to use the term hijacking.
Hijacking. No, this is hijacking.
Yeah. But you can prevent that from happening by doing a
by realizing.
hijack. Yeah, by realizing.
By realizing.
Self-realization.
Self-realization. Self-realization happens in the presence of the noble association.
Yeah.
Right? Self-realization happens in the presence of the person who realizes it.
Yes.
Right? When you associate again and again and again, then you become a character, that your mind becomes a mind that does not have that ignorance. As a result of that, you are now free.
So you become your own noble awareness, basically.
Then you become another character to this society that who can spread this love.
Yeah.
Neil was telling in the morning, you're talking about happiness, you're not talking about love. Right? I said, yes, I'm talking about love. You know, love is love.
Yeah.
Not to love you, but to love nature.
Mm-hmm.
Loving nature, loving to the nature does not mean that you are loving to your own mother, father, family members, uncles, aunts, or your people, but love everywhere. That is what we call unconditional love. Unconditional compassion. It's maximum.
Compassion is a good word.
Compassion. There's no condition. Unconditioned.
If it's a condition, then there's a contract.
What do you mean by?
If somebody does something with an expectation of something to come back.
Yes.
Contract, so it's under condition.
Yes. Because when I explain something to you right now, I am giving maximum out of me.
Yes.
I don't know how can I do more than this sermon.
Chocolate cake.
Even though I had a chocolate cake. Right? I don't know how can I do a maximum, because this is the maximum. This is the level best I can do.
And that's all you can of yourself, is to do what you can with what you've got.
Yes, because what I'm practicing, the moment that I'm explaining this, I'm also practicing.
Yeah, of course.
if I'm not practicing at the moment that I explain, you won't feel anything what I explain.
So that's the term, you practice what you preach.
Exactly. This is why I told you, Neil, like in the morning, that this is not something that I, as a theory I am talking, that we can discuss Buddhism as a theory. Theoretical. No, this is where we practice. Sermons are the sermons that we can practice.
Yeah.
Because you are now connecting with my mind in this way now. As a result of that connection, we can create that experience. What is that experience? Without the ignorance. That's why when I say, okay, let's. That's why when I explain that incident and that happens the effect, you felt it. Do you understand that? You felt it. That's why when I say that clapping happens, this happens, then creates the effect of sound. That is where moment of realizations. This happens because of the merits that you have done in the past. That's why you came here and seated. That you won't. Nobody asked you to come here. Nobody did you advertise and threaten them? Did you threat them? No, right? Yeah. Did she give the bullet, the gun, and say, stay there?
Chocolate cake.
Oh, she gave a chocolate cake. she said that she brought she brought a red velvet cake.
I'm only jesting. But then isn't it also, everything that we've been through in our life in the past is what's brought us to this point today.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
And what we do now, change the karmic consequence of the future with what merits you bring.
Shall I complete the cycle?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether this is, you can grasp it. Let's draw it, let's explain it. Condition and the causes. Condition is the condition, the environment. These are the conditions. Whatever that comes to the brain, up to the brain, that is the condition. In order to mind happens, the minding happens, the perception happens, there should be an energy. You understand that? Perception is a flow of energy. Right? Let's say there's an energy trapped in a confined area. This energy is needed to get released. There are likewise, similarly, there are different energy balls are there. Imagine that you are like there's an energy ball battery. I don't know, different cells, the trapped energy. Do you understand that? When the right conditions are there, whatever the energy that is there in the ball get released.
Like a transplant.
This and this triggers this process. Do you understand this? Whatever the perception happens right now to you is a result of what? Energy has been trapped. The trapped energy releases in the presence of the condition. That's why when you are zoned into something, even though your brain is sensing the vibration from your wife, you didn't perceive. Remember I told that story? That means there was no mind. Happens from the whatever the energy cells to receive that, the brain signal. Because when your wife called you, when my wife called back then wife, not my, I don't have wife right now, okay. When she called me, the vibrations comes to the brain. Perception didn't happen. Right? Now what happens? Vibrations are there, but perception didn't happen. Condition and the causes has to come together to generate the perception. This is something, a model, okay? I'm telling you. This is where pen perception happens. I didn't do these things in Detox Your Mind yet. Okay? This is something to be coming later. You know the funny thing? Then I said that because of the ignorance, the mind is getting pregnant and feels what? Self. The mind sense self. Just asking. This is the energy that is driving the mind. Right? From ignorance and attachment, now it feels a void. Right? What is the energy that helped to develop this sense? I mean, do you understand this? Because of this energy, mind happens. Right? But because of this void, it is doing some action to fulfill this void, to feel an entity, a uniqueness. But this sense also needs some energy, right? From where does this energy come from? It's so funny. This energy is now getting released to create the mind. Right? And after this process, what happens to the energy? It goes to the free state. Because this was trapped here, and it is going to the free state. But because of this process, it won't allow to go that free state. And you know that here that you do action to fulfill. Because of this action, you are trapping this energy and putting back here.
So depending on yourself, your sense of self-awareness depending on what vibrational energy and where that actually goes to. If you go in to fill or do an action to fill the void, or you manage to hijack and stop that.
Sorry, again, explain?
Oh God, now you're going to ask me to repeat myself and I probably won't remember what I've just said. When the energy comes in to the sense of self,
the sense of self is taking the energy that is in the mind.
yes.
Right?
At that point, whether or not you hijack it to go into an action to fill the void, or you stop it at that particular point. But does that depend on what energy is coming into the sense of self, depending on what environment you might be in?
Yes. Whether, I mean, sense of
I
self.
might be off tangent here, but it's just the way my mind is thinking.
Yeah. I'll explain it again. The sense of self is this.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
To create the sense of self, it needs some energy.
Yes, it has to happen.
Right? It can't get energy from somewhere else because there's no energy storage for the ignorance. Ignorance has to use the same energy that is the energy that is there to the mind, for the mind. It's like parasite is using the host's energy.
Yes, yeah.
Right? This is the host's energy. Now parasite is using host energy to create what it needs.
So technically the sense of self is a parasite.
Yes. When the sense of self happens, sense of self, don't think about the sense of self. Sense of what? Uniqueness.
Yeah.
Sense of what? Entity. Entity means what? Is it an entity or aggregation?
It's an aggregation. Yeah.
These are aggregations, right? Same thing, aggregations. What this action is doing it? What this action is doing is aggregating. The released energy aggregates. As a result of that aggregation, that experiences what? A uniqueness.
Your story.
It is now creating that uniqueness and keep that energy in the energy storage. Now tell me, this is the past actions you have done that creates the present mind. Because of the present ignorance, it creates the energy cell again to the storage.
Recycles.
This is the samsaric journey, if you have heard. This mind creates the next mind.
I read somewhere that's the cycle of necessity.
Saisasa?
The cycle of necessity.
Necessity. This is the cycle.
So it was necessary.
No.
Is that what they say?
No.
Because the Buddha talks about the cycle of necessity. Did he not?
Cycle of necessity, yes.
Yeah.
The cycle of necessity happens because of the ignorance.
Yeah.
Because ignorance thinks that it is necessary.
So that's thinking that it's necessary from one thought to come. Another thought is only necessary after another thought, after another thought, after another thought. But then you're still in that cycle.
Because when you feel that you are a self, when you feel that there's a self, that self wants to stay again and again and again.
No, sort of outside this. Because I see, despite how it may appear to us, everything is perfect. But the perfection, whatever it is, wanted this to happen.
Sorry, what?
Because it's perfect. So it wanted this to happen.
No.
What is perfect?
Otherwise,
What is perfect? That is what.
Perfect.
Okay. Listen. Okay. Okay. When you fully realize, let's say one day you get rid of the ignorance completely. Now what happens? All this process stops.
Yeah. Different outcome.
Right? There's no sense of self. As a result of that, now you are not putting back the energy. You are not putting back. That process stops. Okay, then the process of whatever the energy cells that's left, still triggering the minding moments. This is the perfectness.
It's not recycling.
There's no suffering, there's no expectation. This is the perfect mind.
Yet the ignorance happened.
No ignorance.
Yeah, but before there is no ignorance, the ignorance happened.
Now, ignorance happens.
Ignorance happened and it happened and it began somewhere.
When it begins.
The dawning of ignorance.
Okay, what you're asking.
And it began somewhere. And what I'm saying is...
Wait. In this journey, right? The first mind that happens to this world comes with ignorance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was meant to happen. Supposed to happen.
No.
It just was. Yeah.
It just was. Neil, we had this conversation.
Which is why the Buddha went on the journey to find.
No. Neil has good idea about Nibbana. Right? He was explaining this to me in the morning. What he is telling is true, right? But the thing is, everybody can't grasp to that level. That's why we are not saying in that way. What we are saying is, when my mind is free, when there's no ignorance, there's no, you don't feel a void, you don't feel that you're doing something, but it's been done. The process of being done happens even though you don't do it. When there's no ignorance at all, still the process of perception will happen. That is what great arihants back then with the Buddha, the people who attain enlightenment, have you heard that? When they realize 100% realization, still they live, they feel, they eat, they drink, they do normal actions. It will happen, but there's no sense of self. Sense of self is not there. As a result of that, there's no suffering, there's no fear, there's no anger in that minds. These are beautiful minds. These beautiful minds doesn't feel a sense of self. This beautiful mind does not feel, does not experience a separation. These beautiful minds are beautiful minds, and they are perfect. That is what in Taoism it says. When you realize that you are everywhere, you are the nature, that realization brings you will feel like, it says, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. When the death comes, you are ready. Because you won't feel fear. Because you won't feel fear because you are not there to feel fear. A process of minding process happens.
So therefore in this journey we're all in a whole journey of overcoming and unraveling
I
the
just
matrix within.
can't get over this sense of self as a whole creative process that in itself, even though we may leave it, is important.
The sense of self has been ego.
And the sense of self, to me, even though it's an illusion, even though it's saying is a creative process to reach us to this, bring us to this point so we can do that.
Yes. Otherwise we wouldn't be here
And
now.
otherwise we wouldn't bother.
Okay.
And that brings us to here before we were here. And it's like
Sense of
we
purpose.
need to go through this process with the ignorance to reach this point.
Well, that's duality. You wouldn't know ignorance.
And we need
And-
the
Like
ignorance
the other.
to get to this point.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
but
duality.
when you realize it, you don't need ignorance.
No,
Need it
no, when you
anymore.
realise it, I understand that.
When you realize it,
awareness.
after realizing, after awareness, you don't need ignorance. You are now fighting against ignorance because he is the culprit. That all the minds, all chittas, what we call chitta. Chitta means the minds, right? All the minds were spoiled.
Mhm.
I don't think they were spoiled. They were what they were. The ignorance was what it was. That's not a spoil.
Ignorance-
It's just
Ignorance
different.
is the mother and father of the
Of the
suffering,
baby.
of that baby suffering. That's fine. I told you what to do. Let's go. You will realize what I am saying in future. So what is there is actually perception, the free perception. Free perception, that is seeing. I can explain to you the state of the Arihat Unnahanse, Arihat, the enlightened one. Seeing happens, but does not have expectation to watch. Hearing happens, but does not have expectation to hear. Smelling happens, but does not have expectation to smell. Thinking happens, there's no expectation to think. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. Process happens. No expectation. Zero expectation, process happens.
It's the mind.
That's the free state of the mind. That is perfect. That is what Buddha achieved.
You can walk through the darkness without seeing.
When you realize this, that realization brings you the peace. That is the inner peace. That is what Lord Jesus said, rest in peace. Okay, thank you very much for listening.